guys, welcome back to my channel. We are going to be jumping right into this video because I just feel like it's going to be a very wordy, very chatty, very long video. So we're just gonna jump right in. I've shared a lot of my life here on YouTube, especially my heartbreak, and I also did share a video called Healing After Heartbreak that I filmed back in the summer, I think it was. I highly recommend that you watch that video. You can pause this one and go watch that one first if you want, or you can watch this one first and then watch the other one, but I'm going to link it down below or right here. You guys can check it out. But the video is called Healing After Heartbreak, and I kind of shared my personal experience on how I started healing, and Max is already wanting to sit on my lap, on how I started healing and how I really got through that painful time in my life. And today's video is about dating after heartbreak, which doesn't necessarily mean that you're completely healed, but you should be at least on the path to healing or feeling great about the future. And or maybe you're not feeling so great about the future. Let's be honest, like not everyone goes into dating like completely happy and positive, but I kind of wanted to make this video to just share my personal experience, answer your questions. Actually, I'm going to be answering a lot of your questions because at first I was just going to sit down and talk, but after seeing so many questions from you guys on Instagram, I decided this is going to be more Q&A style to really get to the questions you guys want to know. And this video is going to be a two-parter. There were just too many questions to answer in one video, so this is part one. We're going to be diving into kind of like the healing and transitioning into knowing when to start dating and how to go about all of that and some personal things that I went through. And then part two will dive kind of into part two of dating and meeting that person that you think could be the one that you want to commit to, and family and opinions and all of that good stuff will be answered in part two. So let's jump right in. How to leave an unhealthy relationship, how to know when you're ready to start dating, and the fear of it all. I always feel like if you're asking yourself or other people around you, like, do you think I should leave? Like, when do you think when do you know if you should leave a relationship? When do you know if a relationship is unhealthy for you? If you're asking those questions, it probably means that you should be leaving the relationship, because you wouldn't have so many negative thoughts about it and fears about it if it wasn't something really healthy, or if it just wasn't meant for you. So if you're already like seriously asking those questions, it probably means that you do want to leave the relationship. You just know it in your heart, like you truly know it in your heart if this is not for you. So just listen to your intuition. What is the best thing to do after a breakup? So the best thing to do after a breakup is to go to therapy. I don't think you need therapy after each and every breakup, but if you were in a very long relationship or in a relationship where you felt like it was a bit traumatic for you, you should go to therapy. You should try your best to find therapy or find some kind of resource where you can speak to a professional. I will list a personal favorite resource of mine down below. It's called psychologytoday.com. I really do think the best thing for you to do after a breakup is go to therapy, do some self-reflection so that you don't take any negative tendencies into your future, and so that you can kind of move forward in the healthiest way possible. I also think that you shouldn't be speaking to, this is my personal opinion, but I don't think you should be speaking to your ex if you are going through a breakup. Unless you share custody of children, then that's kind of avoidable, but you could try to just keep it to speaking about the children only, because it's just easier to move on when you have a clean break and you're not in constant communication with that person, because you still might have feelings for them or they still might have feelings for you, and they can kind of pull you back in, and that might not be the best thing for you. So it is best, in my opinion, to cut ties, cut communication, especially for this very fragile time in your life. I would say like at least a year, if not longer, or forever. Another question kind of similar to that is how to realize your self-worth after heartbreak or past trauma. So this is again where therapy comes in for me. I didn't realize how broken I felt after that heartbreak until I started going to therapy. I started going to therapy every single week, and I was able to work through everything at my own pace and speak to someone who had an unbiased opinion, was a professional. But through therapy, I really realized that my self-esteem had been so low, and I put a major focus going into those sessions into working my self-esteem up and healing myself. And the questions I would get asked in therapy were questions that really made me think about my life and the choices I had made. I felt really lost in the beginning, and I didn't even realize how low I had fallen until I started answering my therapist's questions. Moving past that and trying to heal and working and getting your self-esteem back, I think things that you could do are just focus on yourself and trying new things. Like, this is your moment to be selfish, so just do things that make you happy, whether that's watching new shows, whether that's just getting a blowout every week or every other week, or doing your makeup or buying yourself a new lip gloss. But also something really silly that will help you is saying affirmations in the morning, or when, like, anytime you look in the mirror, just say like affirmations like, you are gorgeous, you are beautiful, you are kind, you are that bitch. Like, whatever helps you feel good, like, just keep telling yourself that. And sometimes it can feel a little silly, but then that kind of brings a smile to your face and it lifts your mood instantly. So just tell yourself positive affirmations every single day, as silly as that sounds. Try to journal. I have the 5-minute journal that I absolutely love because it just makes you reflect on what it is that you love about yourself or your life and what you're grateful for. So things like that constantly remind you of the good person that you are and of the strong person that you are, because a lot of times you feel so weak when you're going through heartbreak. You feel like you're just weak, and when you write things that you're grateful for, it kind of reminds you of how strong you actually are and how much you really do have going for yourself. All right, so let's jump into when we actually start dating. So how was the process of moving on after a long committed relationship? How did you know you were ready, or does one really know for sure until they try? So I remember the first time I considered dating, it was in therapy. My therapist told me she wanted me to go. This was before the shutdown happened. She was like, I want you to go to like a bar or something and just sit by yourself and just like start doing things like that to meet people. And I was like, and she was like, you should get on dating apps and just talk and see how you feel. And at first I was like, I'm not really ready for that. I don't want to date. I can't even think about that right now. And then I started going out with friends, not really thinking much of it. And then all of a sudden I just started talking to people, and it started kind of online first. Like, I started on Instagram. Okay, I don't even know how to approach this. I feel like it kind of just happened for me. I didn't have a moment where I was like, now I'm going to date. I was like okay with the idea, like if somebody talks to me, then I will consider it, like kind of like that. Like I kind of approached it that way to take the pressure off of myself, because I feel like if I would have been like, now I'm going to date, like, and put that pressure of like having to go on a date, I would have felt overwhelmed. But I just said, if it happens, it happens. If I happen to meet someone, they ask me out and I find them cute, then I'll go on a date, whatever. And again, to talk about therapy, again, I'm probably gonna mention therapy a million times, but a lot of people asked me like the appropriate time of like dealing with a breakup, healing, and then starting to date again. Everyone is on a different timeline. Do not compare your timeline to mine or anyone else's around you. I think I healed in a very healthy way, and I think I was able to heal a bit quicker given the circumstances, because I went to therapy, because I was working through it and not kind of like turning a blind eye or trying to avoid it and staying angry or hurt or depressed. Like, I was really working through it, because I just knew in the back of my head, I always knew that I did deserve everything that I wanted, and I wanted to feel good about myself. So doing that work really helped me heal a bit quicker. What should you do in terms of self-love, care before considering dating someone? You should try to figure out who you are as a person. Like try to figure out, okay, what's important to me? What do I like to do for fun? What is something that I absolutely do not like or do not like doing with other people? Because once you start dating, you don't want to kind of like someone because you find them cute and then just start doing things that they just enjoy and maybe like you don't like that at all. I feel like in my last relationship we didn't really have a lot of things in common, and then when I got out of the relationship, my therapist asked me like, what do you like to do for fun? And I was like, I don't even know what I like to do for fun. Like I don't remember who I was before the relationship is what I said. So I really put a focus on figuring out, okay, who is Melissa? Like in this stage of my life, what do I find joy in? What are things that I enjoy? So like, and make it fun. Like I started going out with my friends a lot more. I started being a lot more social. I realized that I was a lot more social and enjoyed new experiences and trying new places and just doing things and going out and getting out of the house. And I started to feel really confident in the person that I was and the things that I enjoyed doing. And so I think it's really important to just take this time to be absolutely selfish. You don't have to worry about checking in with someone. You don't have to worry about what your partner is thinking or is he doing right by you. You just have to focus on yourself and whatever you want to do and doing whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it. This is going to be key to dating because you're going to meet people that you have things in common with and you're going to meet people that you have nothing in common with, and you don't want to fall into this trap of like, oh, but they're so cute, like I know we have nothing in common but opposites attract. Like no honey, like you need a foundation and you need to be able to get along with this person and like them. So it's really important to know what it is that you absolutely hate or love when it comes to meeting new people so that you don't settle. Sorry if you hear my dog eating in the background. Of course he decides to eat when I start filming. Let's jump into some fun questions and not such heavy ones. So how do you meet potential partner during these times? I'm not a big fan of online dating. I know these times are rough because we're still in the middle of the pandemic. We had the huge shutdown last year. I know you said you don't like online dating, but just have an open mind. I've had friends that have had great success with online dating, and I have friends that hate it. So I do say give it a try, see what you're comfortable with. It's hard because like it's not like, depending on where you live, you can't really go to the bar and sit there anymore and like meet people that way. But maybe you can ask around, like ask your friends, like, do you know anyone that's single that might be a good match for me? Or coworkers, although that can get a little messy, but meeting people virtually is where it's at right now, unless you can find someone to introduce you to someone. I did give apps a try. I tried Bumble and I tried Hinge, and while I did meet people on there, that is not where I ended up meeting the person that I'm with today. It was kind of, so I went on the dating apps when we were on complete shutdown. So I like that because it kind of made me feel safe. Like I knew that I couldn't actually go out and meet these people. So it felt kind of safe, and it just allowed me to start talking to people and see what's out there. And girl, like some of these people you meet on dating apps are strange, very strange. But it was kind of funny to me because I would always have stories from my friends like, oh my god, you would not believe who I'm talking to or what they said or what they did or whatever. I say FaceTime them. I know Bumble and I think Hinge also allows you to video call someone, so you don't necessarily have to give them your number. You can do the video call from the app, and that way you could see who you're talking to, because it is 2021. Like we should not be getting catfished. You need to see what they look like immediately. I don't know how these people get catfished anymore. I don't know how that show still exists, because everyone has some type of access to like make a FaceTime call or something like that. So if you're meeting someone online, if they don't want to FaceTime with you, just don't even continue it, okay? Because if they were real, they would find a way to FaceTime you. So I did go on some FaceTime dates, which were so funny. And I also met some people on Instagram and TikTok sometimes. So I'm gonna give you guys my single girl dating hack for Instagram when you want to get someone's attention but you don't necessarily want to make the first move. This kind of works best if they have a public page, and if you do also, because you want them to be able to come and see your page. It's a little bit more difficult if you have a private page or if they have a private page, unless you're following them. So what you're going to do is when you find someone cute, you're going to go and like 2 photos tops. You don't want to like more than 2. Maybe you can like 3, and try not to like the very first one. Try to like some older ones so that they see the notification, and this will kind of get their attention, and they'll be curious like, oh, who's this person that liked me, and they'll click on your photo, and they might like a couple of photos back. So if they do like some photos back, then you go back and like some photos, and then wait for them to hit you up first. Unless you don't care and you want to hit them up first, go ahead, but like I always waited for somebody to hit me up first. But that's just a little trick if you want to meet people on Instagram instead of a dating app. I feel like a lot of us do that. No? Can you please tell me down in the comments if I was the only one doing that, or if you guys did that as well? Because I know I did not invent that. Like, other people do that as well. Over the fear. All right, next topic, question. Getting over the fear of people thinking it's too soon to be in another relationship. Listen, the only person's opinion that matters when it comes to this is your own. Everyone is going to have an opinion, but ultimately you know what's best for you. If you don't want to deal with people's opinion, then just don't tell them what's going on in your life. I know when I don't want someone's opinion, I just don't say anything. So someone asked, what do you regret about your last relationship or learned? And then someone also asked, do you feel like you have fault in the breakup? That's a really great question, because I feel like people don't always like to admit fault, but I don't think necessarily I had so much fault, but I feel like I failed myself because I put way too much into something that I knew I was doing too much for. I feel like I made myself very small in the relationship, and I can't blame anyone else but myself. I think I should have walked away from the relationship a lot sooner than what I did. And this is no shade at all, but this is just like reflecting back on how everything was. That's what I feel like I should have done. And I've learned from that, which is the best thing that could have happened. I'm a more confident woman because of that. It really showed me my strengths, and it really showed me how much and how capable I am of love, and how worthy I am of receiving the kind of love that I've always wanted. You kind of have to just take those moments and those lessons as things that add to the value in you as a person as you get older and as you go through these things. Okay, a lot of questions about healing and trusting a new partner. Trusting again. How do you know when you can trust the person that you're dating? I think ultimately the best way to trust a partner or a new partner is communication. If you guys don't have communication, how else are you going to trust a person? Your instincts are never wrong. That's what I've learned. Your instincts are never wrong. The way to know that you can trust a person is by their actions. Does what they say match their actions? How are they over time? Like, unfortunately, only time is going to tell, but ultimately you kind of have to just give yourself that break and know that you're smart enough to see red flags in the future. Oh my god, there's so many questions, you guys. This is why this video is a 2-parter, because I can't even get through all of the questions. Still on the topic of like in the middle of dating. So this person asked 2 great questions. Attitude, mindset when going on that first date. Should your standards be set high already? And how do you address dates? Why the breakup happened? Also going into that, did you talk about your engagement? I feel like you have to respect yourself, you have to love yourself, and that establishes standards for you already. But when you're going on these first dates, I didn't really take things too seriously because I didn't want to be in a relationship. So I was kind of just getting to know people, and I noticed that I really wouldn't open up so much. I kept it very vague and very surface. I didn't even really care to get to know other people. Like, I wouldn't ask like really personal questions. However, I feel like I also still did have standards. Like, I wasn't about to just give my time to just anyone, but I was kind of just going with the flow is what I'm trying to say. And then I think once you feel like you seriously like someone, you need to like check yourself and reflect back on what it is that you want. Like, does this person have the qualities that are important to me? Do we have things in common? Like, that's when your like even bigger standards kind of jump in. But in the beginning, just like give yourself a break and go with the flow and have fun and let people entertain you. It was kind of just entertainment for me to Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of bored in quarantine, so I was just allowing people to entertain me and keep me occupied sometimes. It's just kind of go with the flow. You don't have to be so serious, because you don't want to have that pressure of like, oh my god, the next person I talk to, that has to be the person I settle down with. Like, just take it easy and have fun and enjoy this phase in your life. And then, did you talk about the engagement? So I was previously engaged, and I laugh because when you start going on dates, like the main questions people ask are, what do you do for a living? How long was your last relationship? So it kind of comes up, and yeah, I would just address it because first of all, like, it's just a part of my life, and if I'm gonna continue talking to someone, like, they're gonna know eventually anyways. I would just mention that yes, I was previously engaged, and then whatever questions someone has, I would just answer them. I never really felt like anyone was being too intrusive. I felt like everyone has natural questions. Like, I would ask, like, if I met someone and they were previously engaged, I would say like, oh my god, what happened? Like, I would have questions as well, which is natural, and I never felt any type of way about it. It was just, it was what it was. And what are some ways to make the conversation less awkward if the person is not talkative? This was like, oh my god, this would stress me out, because I would be like, oh my god, what am I going to talk about with this new person? Like, I don't know them. But this is so like dorky, or I don't know what, but I would write a list of questions in my notes, and if I couldn't think of like what to say or what to ask them, I would just look through my questions and I would ask one of my questions. And like, if you're talking to someone maybe through text or on the phone and they say certain things, I would like jot down little things that they mentioned as conversation starters for like the next time, because I was just too nervous that I wouldn't know what to say. So that kind of helped me. All right, last question for this video. Were you nervous about what your ex would think once you became public? I dealt with this. Yeah, I was a little nervous, not just about what he would think, but what everyone would think. You know, I felt so protective of my boyfriend, like, and I feel like I still do sometimes. Like, I didn't want so many people, especially because I do social media for a living, I didn't want so many people's opinions put on us, and I didn't want him to deal with negativity, because I'm kind of used to it. But if you don't do this for a living and all of a sudden people are commenting on you, from the way you look to the way you talk to your new relationships, like, it's really difficult. And I kind of just didn't want to put him through that. And thankfully, you guys have been so sweet and amazing and kind to the both of us, and I really appreciate that. But I was really nervous because you just never know. But at the end of the day, you have to live your life. Everyone is always going to have an opinion. Not everyone is going to agree with you. And that's kind of like what I always try to keep in the back of my mind, is like, I have to do what makes me happy, and this person makes me so happy. So here we are, world. I'm gonna end this video here. Trust me, there are a ton more questions that I didn't even get to go through, but we're gonna do that in a part 2 for this video. Otherwise, I feel like this video is never going to end. But in part 2, we're gonna dive a little bit more into my new relationship and questions that you had about that. Thank you guys so much for submitting your questions. I hope that this video somehow makes you feel hopeful for the future, makes you feel confident in knowing that love is out there for you, and that dating can be fun. This is kind of like why I wanted to make this video. Like, I just wanted to empower you guys to feel like you can have fun with this. You can be selfish. You can enjoy dating and meeting new people, and it doesn't have to be so heavy. Just enjoy it, be safe, and put yourself first, because we are queens and we deserve to be first, and we deserve to be loved the way that each and every one of us wants to be loved. That being said, thank you so much for watching this video. I love you guys, and I will see you in part 2 of this video. Bye.